with you. You're a concerned voter, and it matters. A lot of people don't care, but you're here and do care, so thank you.
I would like to remind everybody to, is mine just went off? I'd like to remind everybody to silence your phones, please, and that will help us move on. So now, the next 5 questions have been prepared by active members of the Warrington Revitalization Committee and coordinated with the candidates. The first question is lengthy. And I said they'll have 2 minutes to respond. Well, on the first question, they're going to have 3 minutes to respond because it's lengthy, requires some specifics. So you'll each have 3 minutes to respond. And after that, the rest of our 4 questions will have 2 minutes to respond. After that, the audience will have a chance to ask questions. The candidates have been made aware of these questions. So the first question. And since Mr. Dorsey got to start off with the introductions, we'll start this question with Mr. Kohler. Please name, and I'll repeat if we need, please name 3 neighborhoods or pocket areas within the Warrington CRA and how you feel they've been historically underserved. Discuss their challenges and your strategy for addressing those challenges.
Okay. Thank you. Let's talk about CRAs first. I'm very supportive of CRAs. We got 3.5 CRAs in District 2. I split Brownsville with Commissioner May. You really got to understand CRAs and how they affect the community. But if you look at the Warrington CRA and you're going to ask me which area probably is in the most need for immediate attention, it'd be the area off Gulf Beach Highway, north Mariel Davis, where One Oaks is by Forest Creek. It's still in desperate need. We've done some work there with the park. The second area, which we've done a little bit of work with an NSP custody, is on the south side of Chiefs Way. That's a very depressed area, and it needs a lot of attention. But since I have 3 minutes, I want to talk a little bit about CRAs because it's very important and what we've done for CRAs. One of the most lasting accomplishments that I'm very proud of is that we renewed the Warrington CRA for 30 years. I don't know how many people realize the effect that will have on Warrington probably after I'm dead. Hopefully not, but probably. It will have, we have about $4 million currently that will be in the Warrington CRA. I also got the board to vote for Myrtle Grove for a CRA. They don't have much money in that tip. It's about $80,000, but it will grow. Parancas has, not as big as this, but we've done quite a bit with that CRA, and I'll talk about some of the stuff we've done with the CRAs. Every road south here, Poppy, Dexter, Wilson, all those sidewalks were done with CRA. The Brancas CRA, if you know, we're gonna have accent lights coming down there. We're waiting for us to be able to get those in. They've been doing the boring. You look at the little things that we've done. The Civitan Park sign, the Navy Point sign, the West Side's the Best Side Brancas sign. All those things that add to a community and make pride are part of the CRA. One other thing, people always talk about affordability. You know what the most affordable thing is for a new homeowner? Move into a CRA and be able to revitalize your house. That's the #1 thing we can do for new homeowners. The average homeowner nowadays can't even buy a house till they're 40. But if they buy one in the CRA, they have the potential to actually buy a home. So for me, I'm very proud of those things with the CRA. The projects that we've done, and if you were here, when Max was here, we sat down, and those that were in the room, they know what we decided what the projects were. South Navy Boulevard, we talked about that being part of it. That will be probably $3 million with the design out of the 4.7 with next year's funds. We also talked about what future projects would be, and more than likely, I think we should consider Edgewater stormwater drainage. That's a project that needs to happen. It hasn't happened yet. So if you said what we're going to do down the road, those are 2 things off the top of my head I think that we should consider right away.
Mr. Dorsey? Yes.
I don't know what the was 3 minutes or not.
That's okay. You can go short.
Oh, okay.
So they asked me to name the 3 specific communities, and I will name them: Beach Haven, Bayou Davenport, and Westerly Heights, which are all of the areas that Michael just mentioned for us here. As I've driven through those neighborhoods, and I drive on the main corridors of the think the trash is evident to everyone. The trash that's on the roadway easements, the trash that is located sometimes in the front of private property, along the abandoned buildings that are in disrepair and probably need to be demolished there. These are holding back the opportunities for District 2. While I enjoy CRAs and have that opportunity, that does give an indication to residents and future residents that this area is depressed and it needs help. I want to focus our attention on rebuilding Warrington District 2 to become one of the most desirable places to live. It is absolutely wonderful community here. We've got, as I've walked door to door and I've talked to all the different residents there, one of the challenges that each of the residents are sharing with me is, Glenn, the insurance cost has gotten so high, I cannot afford insurance on my home. But you know what? The property taxes are so high as well, and if I don't pay those, they'll take my home from me. These residents are doing without insurance because they're on fixed incomes in order to pay their property taxes. I want to get us back to the basics in using these property taxes what they were intended for. As I've been through the 26 and 27 budget, we're looking at reducing. It's not fully adopted yet. Mike's got a lot of influence coming up in the opportunity to put a priority on making our roadways a priority once again. This is where all of the workers for much of the county live. I've got a lot of retirees that need to go to the hospital. They cannot afford the automobile repairs as it relates to the roads. And I'm sure you're going to hear about a lot of road projects today and their successes. But I'm just asking you to use your own eyes, look around and look at the conditions of the roads. Look at the conditions of the easements and the appearances of the community. I just finished driving down South Navy Boulevard. We're going to talk in a few moments about spending a lot of money to redo what, in my opinion, is a perfectly good road. It doesn't mean that I don't want beautification. It doesn't mean that we wouldn't all benefit from a brand new project. But is it the smartest thing to do considering all of the needs of the community? I know we're all here today because a lot of you live in Warrington. Your interests are in Bayou Davenport, Westerly Heights, Sherman Grove, or whatever the case may be. But District 2 encompasses much more than just these areas. And I want to take a holistic approach, not only to District 2, but to our county. We've all seen and heard the fights in the headlines here about the name calling over this upcoming budget and the differences of opinion in the past. Those relationships matter a whole bunch. We are just one vote amongst 5 commissioners. We have to get others to agree. We have to befriend them. We have to have them understand the importance of the needs, not only of the district, but of the county. But in terms of putting the improvements in, infrastructure is very important.
Mr. Kohler, would you like to offer the level?
Yeah, well, we were talking about CRAs, and that went all over the place. But what I will tell you is, when we talk about roads, that pulls great everywhere in the United States. Everyone in the United States, they talk about roads. I have never heard my opponent once tell me what road he's going to tackle. I don't know. Is anyone in the audience? I doubt you can tell me which road. That's a state road. We'll get in. But thank you for piping in. But we can talk about state roads now. We'll talk about that further. But Gold Beach Highway in Sorrento is a plan, and we can talk about that. But a county road that we control, we have put, well, in just District 2, $42 million in road projects. $42 million in lost, just out of lost dollars. So to say we're not doing roads is just not, it's just not honest. It's a fact. So can we do more? Sure. You know which road we need to do next? I'll say it right now. I know which one. I'm going to do Vanderbilt off of Fairfield. It's terrible. I looked at the roads. I sit down with engineering. I know exactly what roads I need to tackle. And you know why I know that? The county has a software program that has graded every road in the county, not a state road, Jim. So every road in the county, and we know how it's supposed to be. It's either red, yellow, or green. Using the 30 percentile, those are the ones that engineering recommends. So this isn't like nuclear science. We know what we need to pay. And that's what we should do by actual data. No other reason, by fact.
Mr. Dorsey?
I understand that a computer can track a road, and we can all sit here and say this road should last us 10 years. If you really want to see if a road needs to be replaced on it, just get your truck, drive out to the road, and drive down the alley. We're all here, right here today. I ask you to get in your car, drive right down this little park road here. See how your car reacts to the condition of the road roads just in this park alone. Yes, I can answer the question about roads that need to be paved. I do think we need to take a holistic approach to them and list them out so the people here can understand. But as I drive down all of the major corridors, whether you want to pick it as Fairfield, whether you want to use the state road of Sorrento and Barrancas there, all of these roads are equally challenged. And especially when you get off of the roads. Drive back, even back where Mike lives, back towards Star Lake and Davenport. Those roads need a tremendous amount of help. Go down First Street and Second Street. Those roads need a tremendous amount of help.
Thank you. Okay, all right, Mr. Dorsey, you're up on this next question, you first, regarding county services. So District 2 residents continue to raise concerns about blight and the appearance of their neighborhoods and commercial corridors. Many West Side residents believe infrastructure investments have historically favored other parts of the county. What specific actions would you take to address these concerns?
I would like to leverage all of the opportunities that we have, from the general fund to the lost funds to the CRA funds there, about using that money to clean up, again, these easements. You're gonna hear me harp on it time and time again, because you cannot drive down, I happen to live on Fairfield, you cannot drive down Fairfield without seeing mattresses, couches, used appliances, tires sitting on the side of the road. You'll see that the grass is 2 and 3 feet tall. Listen, I get it, we've got limited resources, but as you look around at many of the easements along the county roads there, you're going to find grass that is literally waist high. You're going to find a tremendous amount of trash that comes along with that as well. And again, all I'm asking as a county is that we all pitch in, we use the money that we have and we spend it wisely to change the appearances. If we want to attract business opportunities, we want to attract higher home values and affordable housing, when people want to live here, we have to change our appearances.
Thank you. Mr. Kohler, 2 minutes.
Yeah, so let's get down to actual facts. So when I actually got elected, life was a huge issue for me. And the first thing I did is I empowered code. Since I got elected, not this last month, not last year, the very first month I took office, we started empowering code. Anyone in this room knows this because they've seen it. Glenn Conrad, when I got elected, sitting in the back, telling me, we'll talk about some of those stories over the next couple of minutes. 6,400 citations in District 2 alone. Sure, you're gonna find a mattress, sure you're gonna find public works. One of the first things we got rid of was the Sonic with the homeless across from Warrington, the Family Medical School. Remember that? 30,000 pounds in trash gone. The polka dot building at Winthrop and Navy, gone. We got Marcello's to get done, gone. We got Tire Lake on Lillian, gone. The old car wash on Jackson Road that was dilapidated, gone. We got the service station on the other side of Winthrop to get rid of the cars, and now it's gonna be electric car shop. We've got rid of 12 to 15 blighted houses. It took me 3 years, but as you drove in, you can see working relentlessly with code, Suburban Lodge is now being changed. You would have to literally lived in Gulf Breeze and not lived in District 2 to not see what's happened in the last 4 years. And that's why Glenn doesn't know that, because he doesn't know what's happened here. But you and I do, because we've seen the change. So if you lived here, you'd know it, you'd see it, and it wouldn't be a complicated thing to answer. The other thing, when you look at some of the stuff that he talked about in the summer with the mowing and stuff, we are hurting for public work employees. It's just a fact. 1,000 employees in the county make less than $50,000, and we don't have enough people working in public works, and we've had a massive infiltration of people coming into the county. We need more people in the correction officers and public works to maintain the stormwater drainage and other things.
Mr. Dorsey, would you like to offer a rebuttal?
Yes. So I love the diversionary tactics, and I love how we like to accept the credit for everything that every county department has done. The role of a county commissioner is policy and establishing budget. That is it. We can make a phone call over to the code enforcement, but probably the fastest way to get something resolved would be for the resident or the citizen to make a phone call over to the code enforcement. If we require our county commissioner to have to call the code enforcement office, we have a broken department, and we need to be holding our county administrator responsible to those obligations. As we look at the code enforcement, yes, congratulations that the suburban lodge is done. It's only taken 4 years, $400,000 of fines being levied against it that are now being forgiven in order to get it done. If that's you or I mean, I've been to county commissioner meetings where somebody said, I didn't know about it, I didn't get the piece of mail, I've got $5,000 worth of fines, and they tell them, well, too bad, too sad, pay the $5,000 there. But if you're a big business interest in this town, not only can you get tax incentives, but you'll have the opportunity to gather certain favors as well.
Mr. Kohler, 1 minute.
That is just not true. So what we normally do is if someone's improving a property, they're required, and this has been a board policy the whole time I've been on the board with every commissioner, they pay the hard cost and the court cost, and if they've improved the property or someone commercial or residential, we waive the fines. Anyone that, you can go back and look at this across the board for the last 4 years, that's the standard. So that's just not true, Glenn, and it's obviously because you just don't know about this, but that's exactly, anyone that's watched this and can watch and see it. That's what we do, and anyone that's been part of this knows that.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to question number 3. And I'd also like to make sure the audience doesn't enter into the debate. Okay, please, so keep your comments to yourself and talk to candidates afterwards. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. All right, South Navy Boulevard improvements. Mr. Kohler, one of your main projects has been South Navy Boulevard improvement plan. Mr. Dorsey, you criticized investment in this plan. Please discuss your view, and we're starting with Mr. Kohler, I'm sorry. Please discuss your view and opinion of the project and any changes you may propose.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Keith. If you would have been here like I was 4 years ago, and you would be coming to the Warrington Revitalization Committees with neighborhood services, you would know we would sit down and look at the projects that we wanted to do. Well, one of them that the Warrington Revitalization wanted to do was South Navy Boulevard, and if anyone was here knows that. So I did what any good commissioner could do. I went out to our congressman. I'm on the Northwest Florida Defense Coalition with Commissioner Stroberger. We lobbied, and I do have some experience in DC when I was in 04, and we started getting money. We got $3 million from the federal, and the president signed that. We got the state to sign it. We had one representative that didn't want it. Thank God for Representative Manny, Senator Gates, Chris Dawson, several of the people that pulled it across. We have the money to do this project with very little money out of the CRA. We have to get about a third. I don't know if he'd know how to get the rest of the money, but I do. I'm gonna go to LDCC next year. They do renovation. It's Office of Defense Community Cooperation. Patrick O'Brien's the head of it. They had $230 million this year to get the infrastructure on the base. You have to have 30% of that can be funded out of what our CRA can. So we're gonna get the money. Out of the Florida Defense Support Committee, we also are gonna apply for a defense infrastructure grant. This is a project, it's a regional project that if Mr. Dorsey was around here and went to the neighborhood meetings all around the base, he would know this is a very popular project. But because he's not from here, he's never lived around here, and he doesn't go to the neighborhood meetings, he doesn't understand why this is such important to most of the people in this room. But you guys know as well as I do, because I've been in the meetings. We've had 100 people in this room for 2 different charrettes. And you know how many people? It was the #1 project by HBR for positive comments ever in the Stanley County. It's an extremely popular project.
Mr. Dorsey?
I don't mind having vanity projects from time to time, but as we go down and we look at Navy Boulevard there, we have about $8.5 million of unfunded expenses in order to cover. Can we use the CRA funds to do that? Yes, we certainly can do that. Can we apply for additional grants? We can do that. But we have needs to the rest of the community. That corridor, as we drive down Navy Boulevard, I mean, let's just be honest with one another. It is a commercial corridor. It's what it was intended to be. It's what it currently is. There are a few residential properties along that side. All of this that I saw in terms of the applications and the positioning during the times in which Petronas was making application through this, and that award came in through the hurricane relief and the rebuild projects that are out there. It isn't any special lobbying. We've had a lot of military incentives already through other commissioners there. Mike isn't the only guy that can save the day here. So that project, I think it would be nice, but if we look at the 2 lanes going each way, the center turn lane, to pull out a center turn lane, to add more landscape, we all know how the county does in terms of maintaining its landscape. The exterior lighting along the roadways, I think, would certainly be a benefit. I just don't think it needs to be a $13 million project in which the county needs to come up with $8 million. If we can subsidize that with grants, it comes with very little impact. We can put that to a reasonable rate to improve that visual coming and back and forth to the base there. I think that's a wonderful idea, but you know, I want to prioritize our spending.
Mr. Kohler, you have 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you. So, Congressman Elsie, Congressman Franklin, Congressman Carter, these were the folks before Congressman Petronas got elected, and especially Congressman Elsie and Admiral Quinn in the Northwest Defense Coalition helped get this across the line. That's just a fact. And it came out of community support funds basically from the federal side. I want to reiterate why this is so important, and it's extremely important. The base brings in 47% of the economy to Escambia County, $4 billion. To the region, $6.6 billion. It is not a District 2 project. It's a survival for Escambia County. And for him not to understand that and the magnitude that it affects this county is scary to me. It's absolutely scary that he would not understand the magnitude and risk he could put us at by not remotely understanding the economic effect and the things that we need to do to protect around the base. White Island is another perfect example of $35 million to fortify around that base and protect our economy. I am going to fight like that base like no one you could have ever seen, and I'm the most qualified person to do it. And I think everyone knows that.
Mr. Dorsey, 1 minute.
Sure. We had a compatible use study, Mike. Why are we not talking about the improvements that were deemed in that report for Corey Station itself there? So, and we'll certainly give you the opportunity to do that, because I mean, those items were very much a concern on that particular report. You want to improve the front gate of NAS Pensacola, and if you look at that in that compatible use study in terms of what they are deeming important in order to keep the economy alive with the military spending there, we're simply ignoring that over there. The CRA funds need to be used to revitalize that area. There needs to be additional street lighting. They've made mention several times in regards to their concerns of our schools in the area. Affordable housing and the quality of the housing was very, very important as a part of maintaining that defense structure right here in the area.
Come back. Come back. One more minute.
Yeah, because the fact is, and Commissioner Stroberger knows this, one of the very first things we did with the NASP compatibility use study is I wrote 34 different comments, and one of the absolute first things the county did was put new lighting down Chiefs Way, clean up the sidewalks, and that's just a fact. So you obviously don't know what's going on in the community. We actually did put new lighting out there because of the security that they asked in the compatibility use study. You just don't know what's going on over here, Glenn. It's obviously you don't.
Mr. Dorsey, 1 minute.
Mike, there you go, taking credit for other people's work once again. You didn't do it, sir.
What to tell you, yeah.
So, I understand that there's new lighting over there. That wasn't originated because Kohler made a couple phone calls. It was originated.
Yeah, it was.
Very good. Narcissism.
Move on. Thank you. All right. Now it's the debate. All right, question 4, and this we'll start with you, Mr. Dorsey. Question 4 is the agency and outside resources in support of Escambia County. The district's economy and well-being is very diverse with significant military and state assets, wealthy and challenged neighborhoods, and small entrepreneurial businesses to the county's largest employer. What agencies and resources would you solicit, and how would you interact with them to support your district initiatives?
Sure. And I think Mike has done a relatively good job with this in terms of reaching to NAS Pensacola, Corey Station, the Navy Region Southeast, Department of Defense. I know you were in Washington when you missed that TPO meeting. So I'm not here to criticize you for missing that meeting and pushing down those projects a little bit further. But this is going to take an interagency conversation. We're going to have to begin to have conversations with the county as the collective, from ECUA to FEMA to our restore opportunities, to the feds themselves and our state representatives, in order to continue to develop the workforce, the schools, in providing the education. So we're going to have conversations with UWF, we're going to have conversations with Pensacola State College, in order to make sure that we're getting the training that we need in order to keep businesses here and provide the opportunity for our residents. Mr. Kohler?
So the question was agencies, and honestly, when I was in 04, I didn't get these skills by accident. I worked for a two-story admiral in DC, and I was like a glorified secretary. But I learned how people got money out of DC, because I literally walked the halls with admirals and figured out how you get money. And you have to have relationships. It doesn't matter your politics with our federal delegation. I can tell you, Senator Scott and Congressman Petronas have literally come to District 2, to my neighborhood, because they value the base. That's just a fact. And they didn't do it for money. They didn't get money out of it. The Republican Party of Escambia County, but they did it because they support the base. At the state level, we have to have relationships with not just our local delegation, because it's small. That's why I got elected to represent 4 counties, District 1. You probably heard the sheriff is doing it now for the FSA. I'm already in my first year for Florida Association of Counties. The Florida VA is going to put a veterans home in the Panhandle in the next 3 to 5 years. You're gonna need someone that understands healthcare. I understand healthcare. I was director of healthcare business. I know the metrics. I can produce them. I am working on that to try to get that in our area. The base alone with the Northwest Florida Defense Coalition has brought in $15 million, and I don't want to put the exact number out because I want to give our congressman credit, but we're going to get several more $1 million for the hangar on 32-6, I've been told, but I don't want to put that out publicly yet. You know who Senator Moody's office called and asked to put in the RFI for the Coast Guard? Me. You know why? Because I knew how to do it. Now, we didn't get it, but I had that thing whipped up within a day, sent off, and you know, we were in the fight. Steve was there with me. I actually thought we were going to get it. Alabama worked harder, but the reason they asked me to do it, they knew I had the experience to put the document together and fight for it. I don't know, Glenn, if you have those experiences. And that's not tooting my own horn. It comes from years of experience. I mean, I really think you put us at jeopardy, but, you know.
Mr. Dorsey, about 1 minute.
Go back to the question. That was a lot.
And rebuttal is not required either, but the question was, the district's economy and well-being is very diverse and significant military and state assets, wealthy and challenged neighborhoods, small entrepreneurial businesses to the county's largest employer.
Thank you, and I kind of dozed off a little bit there when Mike rattles on there and likes to take credit for everybody that's out there. Mike, we've had commissioners far before you here, and if we just look at the record of the last 4 years, I'm just not seeing the opportunity that you're promising and stating that you have actually delivered to our residents that are out here. Our bases are in jeopardy of further downsize. We've lost command structures that are out there. When you talk about the hangar, that was just a hurricane rebuild on there. I don't understand why you're taking credit for that. You look surprised that the Navy hangar.
Hey, Ms. Cole, okay, rebut?
I'd like to rebut. The reason I was up in DC and it was ADC basically is lobbying for what's going on. We are building a massive amount on Corey Station. They're putting $100 million into 1,000+ building barracks. No, I didn't take credit for that. It's a $2 billion initiative, and we're going to get over $100 million, and that's in a different program that's going into infrastructure that will come through CNIC. The second thing is we got diverted $21 million into our base from the Micronesia Islands. So when you say we are getting all kinds of federal dollars into Corey Station and NAS, and that's happening because we're building relationships, and these people that are in the federal level respect our bases and are fighting for our bases. And that doesn't happen by accident. It's not just Mike Kohler, it's a team. It's the Northwest Florida Defense Coalition. It's relationship building with your federal side. It's working with the people I've worked with in the Pentagon. This is just not an accident.
Thank you. Mr. Kohler, question 5, regarding tax incentives. There's 2 tax items on the ballot this election. One is the statewide property tax amendment, and the other is the local option sales tax. Combined, the loss of these revenues is approximately $120 million from the 2027 and 2028 budgets. Please discuss the impacts to the county and what specific measures you would take to offset those losses.
Yeah, let's start out, everyone wants lower taxes. No matter what the price of your house, I talked to Bubba Peters, the maximum amount that anyone would lose on their, or gain on their property tax is a little under $1,900. That's a lot of money to a lot of people. But I will tell you this, $43 million in 27 is not, it's a service reduction. And I'm gonna say what Senator Gates said just a few weeks ago when I was with him at this Candy County Women Federation dinner. He said, I put this on the ballot. You're gonna get to decide. He said, you know what you need to decide? You need to tell your county commissioner what you wanna cut. And I said, I'm gonna use that. So it's not a service, it's a service reduction. The legislature, I don't like that they put it without an offset and a tax shift. 377 commissioners across the state of Florida are gonna get to tell you what you lose, not what you gain. And this is not a normal loss. If we lost, that's $70.5 million. And it's a lot more than 120. It's gonna be over 140 million if you read the Hofstadter plus else. Well, you know what the mandates are in the last 6 years by the state on the county out of our budget? And he does the budget, he doesn't know what he's talking about with grants, but $82 million more we're mandated to pay in the state budget out of what we would have in general funds. So if you look at this year's budget, we control about right around $340 million out of general fund money. We would lose $140 million. There's certain things we can't cut because of statute. So it's gonna be parks. It's gonna be, I don't know, maybe the animal shelter. It's gonna be personnel. We can't cut correction officers, we're already down 40, and we're paying them overtime, we don't pay them enough. It's gonna be a tough discussion, I'll be honest. I am even remotely prepared to tell you how we get to $140 million, and any politicians that says they are, they're lying to you. It's just not true. We're gonna have to see what the legislature come back to and helps us with.
Mr. Dorsey?
Sure, 2 factors, 2 different timelines. As we talk about the lost funds there, that doesn't affect us until 2029. We've got plenty of time to react for it. It's being put on the ballot this year to get an early renewal because it has a waiting period before it can be reconsidered once again. So what we're seeing is a lot of scare tactics from the politicians that have had the opportunity to raise your property tax well above the cost of inflation, well above the additional population that's been added into the community. And they've been able to say, you know what, I've kept your taxes level. And they're talking about the millage rate. They're not talking about the property appraised rate that has actually resulted in a higher bill, more money from your pocket into their pockets. It is time for us to get serious about cutting spending. These budgets have gone up, 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 and up. Don't tell me that we can't find any cuts in the budget. Everyone sitting in this room in the last 4 years has had to look at their individual budgets and make cuts in their own family. Maybe they didn't go as far on vacation. Maybe they didn't go by air. Maybe they didn't go by sea. Whatever the case is, they made cuts, and it's time for our government to start making some cuts. We've heard the scare tactics from everybody, and understand the people that are yelling the sky is falling. Those are the direct beneficiaries of the taxes that have been collected. We've had the opportunity, for those of you that watched the last budget workshop, where do you want to start your cuts? Let's start immediately with the discretionary accounts that these commissioners use to buy votes. Let's rid that $50,000 straight off the top. Let's look at the other giveaways that are happening within the community to Local charities, I'm all for a local charity. I'm just not for a local charity with taxpayer money. You want to sit down here and have a pizza party and everybody throw in 25 bucks into the kitty and let's make a charitable donation, I'm with you on that. But it is time for us to start cutting some spending. We are looking at, right now, at least another 2.5% increase in next year. We know that these are getting ready to face us, these big problems, but we're not even trying to solve them. It's time to get
Thank you,
serious.
Mr. Wilson.
Okay, so let's talk fast. So in 2006, the millage rate was 8.756. In 2007, it was 8.01. In 2008, it went to 6.975. In 2013, it went down to 6.615. Last year, we went to 6.6. Does anyone in this room believe gas is the same price as it was in 2006? Does anyone believe that groceries was the same price as it was in 2006? Did anyone listen when I said we had 1,000 employees that make less than $50,000 below the median income in Escambia County? We pay our correction officers less than $22 an hour, and next door they pay $25 an hour. If you want to have anyone work, and I'm not getting anything from this. This is just, I didn't take we'll talk about the retirement stuff. I never took the Florida retirement. But this is just craziness. If you want to have a functional county, you have to have some balanced growth. And I'll tell you, I'm gonna make it real clear. I have no problem getting down to 3-2 votes on the budget. And I know exactly how to do it. I sat down with Stefan, and we can make some cuts, but we can't make $43 million with the cuts. We can probably get 7 to 10, and it will hurt. $43 million, what I didn't hear, tell me what you're gonna cut. And the answer was nothing. We heard nothing. I just am gonna do that for you, but we have nothing to say that we're gonna cut. So, tell us what you're gonna cut.
Mr. Dorsey, 1 minute.
Sure. We'll start by cutting the new projects about building bigger and better. So as much as I like the base center, folks, the reality is next year we're going to add another $540,000 worth of expense. So this is a little over $2 million a year. If we are hurting for money, I've never heard of it. I can't understand government wisdom. We don't have enough money. We're potentially going to take a cut. Let's spend more. So I just do not believe in that. We have to start cutting. It starts with just talking, having our county administrator go to each of the departments. Look, I'm going to need a plan for a 5, 10, and 15% cut. Bring me back that plan and let's talk about it. It requires facts, it requires diligence. It doesn't require the headlines and the smart remarks. We have some planning problems out there if we end up getting some property tax relief. I think property tax relief is due. So if we want to start making cuts, we may do away with the photographers that post on our Facebook and keep the page up. We could also start, again, with the giveaways that are out there. I'm all for a 3% cut against all of the departments, but if you look at the 26-27 budget, a lot of these departments have found their own cuts in excess of 10%.
Thank you very much. All right, that concludes the questions prepared by the Warrant Evaluation Committee. So now we'll go to audience questions and same rules. Y'all pick. Same rules apply. A concise question, please, and a 2-minute response.
Mr. Bone will bring around the,
Hold on, I've got a great visual memory, so Melvino, you win. Question number 1.
First one.
2, 3, 4. Let's start with 4 and see where our time is, okay? Regina, I apologize. You walked in late and we were doing timing up here, so I'm so sorry. Lucky, only person that's got to do this.
All right. Who's first?
Mel.
Mel? Sorry.
First time I've used one of these little things. How do I use it?
Just talking into it, that's for the live stream.
Oh, okay. So it's not gonna project in the room. And Melissa Pino, D2 resident, just.
Wait a minute, Mel, should we give one of the microphones to the audience?
There you
Does
go.
that make sense? So everybody can hear?
You want me to
I'm
hold
sorry, I
on?
didn't mean to.
Here, Mel.
I'll hold one and you.
Two-fisted.
Mel, hang on for a second. Keith, clarify once again for our timer, what is the timing on this? So 1 minute each,
Sec-
two
Whatever,
and one?
I was thinking 2 minutes, says.
Great, we good on
Do that.
time? Is that all right with everybody? 2 minutes? Okay, let's do
What's our
it.
response?
Okay, I'm sorry, I
2
apologize.
minutes.
I'm gonna front load the question rather than starting with context. And the question is whether both of you will commit to stop character assassinations as campaign tactics. And the reason I'm bringing this up in particular, so that everyone in the room understands, we have two planning committees that deal with land use in Escambia County. One's the Board of Adjustment and the other is Planning. And they're made up primarily of appointed by each commissioner, but they also have some at-large members. And Mr. Dorsey, you have relentlessly attacked one of the officials of this group, William Van Horn, who pretty tirelessly works for D2. He's a commercial developer, he's not a residential developer. If I took us down the rabbit hole of everywhere you have been attacking Commissioner Kohler for having Mr. Van Horn on that committee, we got Jonathan Owens here. Jonathan's on that committee, he's a real estate agent. Traditionally, historically, they put the people there who understand our very complex land development issues. Engineers, real estate agents, developers, people that are the most familiar with it. I'd like that to stop, and I would ask both of you individually to say whether you will commit to stop character assassinations as part of your campaign.
First, I've never put a post out, an artificial of his head like he does mine about every other day. There's not one out there. It's just never happened. As far as Will, if you want me to answer that question, the reason I put Will on that is because he has the expertise. He's never asked me for one thing out of it. The only thing after that he was appointed that came up was the overlay for Warrenton, which was absolutely ridiculous, not being able to have convenience stores. We changed that. There was no one was bought, nothing. It was a logical thing that went in front of everyone. It came here to this room. Glenn would have known that if he came to the meeting, but he wasn't here. It happened right here with Max, and we discussed that. So the answer is, Mel, I've never done a character assassination again. I've never made a post about it. He likes doing artificial stuff. He's gonna probably keep doing that. It doesn't bother me.
There's only been one post that relates to it, and it is simply drawing the connection. That's a fact. You don't have to like it. I mean, that is the fact. So.
Transparency, you are paying for 2 Facebook ads right now about
Let's just keep it.
No.
Be transparent.
Happy to be transparent. There's only one post and one flyer, and it just draws the connections, much like it drew the connections for campaign donations, much like it's drawn the other headlines that are out there. I don't think we need to
The
read
question was for the future?
for the future.
For the future, not the past.
Yeah, I don't plan on doing, I don't think I've done any character assassinations because I've drawn and put the facts out there in terms of record and connections.
The future, though.
Yeah,
We're talking about the future. Will you in the future?
will I in the future?
From this point on.
I will not a character assassinate. I do not think I have done a character assassination. I'm sorry that some folks feel that way, but showing facts and connections isn't a character assassination.
Okay, let's get, okay, second, yep.
Just speak into it.
Okay. Nope, nope, you need to hit the-
Did you turn it off?
Hello, okay.
There you go.
Let's say that the vote goes through and we will not have property tax, which is unconstitutional anyway. I've heard a lot about cutting services, and we have all this warning ahead of us. What ideas do y'all have or are working on, or ideas other people have given you that you support to raise funds to make up for that cut, for that loss?
Go ahead.
Sure. So again, these are the scare tactics that are being put out by the politicians there. You're still going to pay property tax. You're going to pay for the sheriff. You're going to pay for the school board. And then at that point, if this passes, we're going to have a year in which to begin to find additional revenue sources if they're necessary. Again, I think we can do a lot with just cuts, just rolling back the government a little bit. I don't think we need to sit there and scare other folks there and go, you're not going to have any libraries tomorrow, you're not going to have any deputy sheriffs. None of that is even close to the truth. I am a fan of, just for everyone's benefit there, though, but I do like the lost tax, if the lost tax was actually applied to the intended purposes. But a additional sales tax relieves our local residents of the obligation to pay for our government. Anytime that we can spread that across anybody visiting the area, I think is helpful for our particular area. And I think that was the original intent of Governor DeSantis. As it goes through the political process, it becomes a little bit more congested and watered down in terms of the benefits. But I am a big fan of property tax reduction, and I really don't anticipate any cuts. But if there are cuts, we can start certainly with all the community giveaways that are out there, the discretionary funds, and then simply ask each of the departments to put forward a 3% reduction.
Unfortunately, math, that wouldn't even touch where we're going. It's just not even close. He just doesn't understand the math. But the fact is, ma'am, people want property tax cuts. If I was in the legislature, and the problem is, we got left this, the governor's kind of walking back on this. A lot of the politicians that voted for it now are walking it back because, they wanted to get what their things across July 1st when he signed the budget. Even our local representatives are kind of like that. The bottom line, if you want to know what I would do, they're probably going to end up calling a special session. If you want to know a lot of facts, go to Keep Florida Thriving. There's all kinds of facts out there on every county, what we pay. We're in the bottom half in the state, one of the lowest in the nation. We don't have a state income tax. I mean, you're going to have to get revenue from somewhere if you want to have any government. And it's not, you can't just say, I'm going to cut 3%. He's right. He's right and wrong. We can do a little bit of cuts, but not 43 million and then 70 million and then 70.5 million. It's just not, it's not reasonable for me to sit here and tell you we can run the government the same way. I'd be lying, and I'm not gonna lie to you. We are gonna cut and cut and cut and cut. And it will be library services, it will be personnel, we will not have an animal shelter. All the roads you think you're gonna get paved with Glenn, forget it. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And you need to tell people the truth. You need to tell me what you will be willing to be cut. Oh, what? How do we raise it?
The question was, what are y'all going to do in addition to cuts or instead of cuts to actually raise?
Well, that's the question the board will have to decide. Do we do impact fees? Do you want to pay $500 when you get a license? Do you want to pay $20 when you go to the beach to park? I don't know where we're going to get the money. I'm not sure there's going to be a will for that. But the answer is that we're going to have to, everything's going to be on the table. Everything. So I don't know the answer to that yet.
I'll take it.
Well,
Wait. She's next.
And then he's gonna rebuttal on this. It's all right. Yeah, we'll just do a minute.
Watch out for the button.
Oh, okay, this is kind of a dual question. Okay, I think y'all know who I am. I'm Francesca. I'm running for Florida House District 1. This is kind of a water question. Gloria Honing, who's running for ECA, she can't be here because she's sick. So I'm kind of combining a question for myself and her. Currently, right now, she contacted me today that the beaches the water advisory is not being published right now, and it's very poor for the basically the waste. And there's no advisory, there's nothing on the news, like nothing on the radio, and she has a PhD in water. I'm a former emergency manager from USDA and DHS. This is also kind of connected to what I was talking about developers, and I think that's why I think I called your office trying, I know you can't get back to me fast, but also talking about when you go to planning boards, water not being taken into considerations during floods, that I think this is something like meeting with someone like myself and her before this next meeting, like Jack's Branch, these are the people that you need to meet with. And I want to know when, especially you, Commissioner Kohler, or even you, just kind of let me tell the story. And I just want to, when I worked at USDA, I worked with the White House.
You gotta get to the question.
Oh, would you be willing to meet with us? Because, yeah, I would even be willing to meet with you, because these are issues that need to be resolved to prevent this community, because I care about this community, and I've seen flooding and Gloria, because she's a water expert.
It don't matter.
Behind you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So I don't know that I heard everything there, but I'm going to give you back what I think I heard there.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sorry, it
no,
was a lot.
it's quite
because-
all right there. So if we're talking about water quality, obviously one of my big concerns is going to be Bayou Chico. And I do want to applaud Mike there. Help getting the abandoned vessel, those abandoned vessels out of that bio were very, very important. But when we look at the bacterial contents in there, we have a lot of bad septic systems that are feeding and leaching into that area, along with the untreated stormwater runoff there. And that's where the CRA funds, especially in Bayou Davenport, anywhere around the waterways, is going to be important to make sure that we can get those connected to the sewer. As an ECOA representative that you know there, it is important that they start working with the county, and especially District 2. It doesn't matter whether Mike wins or I win there, in terms of getting sewer services out
Yeah,
to the
she
many
sent it to me
areas of
today.
the
It's
area.
and they're not even issuing advisories to people at the beaches.
It's a concern, and that, my opinion is that should probably appear on my Scambi at the very least, and also have the opportunity to receive a text message. That way, when there is, a real caution, you're learning to stay out of the water.
Yeah, man, we had, I'll check in with that. Tim Day, we have a water quality division in the county, and this time of year, we normally do have E. coli increase because the heat and Vibrio,
Yeah.
and that's not uncommon, but we should notify the community. But to talk about, you said water quality in general. One of the collaterals that I signed up, and I've been on the whole time here, was the
Right.
Pensacola Perdido Bay estuary, because it matters to me, because Bayou Chico is so contaminated. And we've done a lot to improve Bayou Chico, and if you went to the Bayou Chico Association meetings, Glenn, you'd know this. But the bottom is you don't go to them. But the thing is, those meetings, we put $10 million into Bayou Chico. We need about another $40 million for the hotspot sediments. The county bought the property right down here from Forest Creek that bleeds into
Right.
Jackson's Pond. That is actually working as a filtration system into Jackson Pond. We literally, on the estuary, we have a scientist that attests. We see some salt grasses, even some shrimping and things that are becoming into Bayou Chico. Bayou Chico is on my priorities to try to get more state funding next year. I talked to Matt this week when we were talking. I have a meeting tomorrow with the estuary out in Santa Rosa, but that's one of the things we need to give a little bit more attention. Positive. I thought the governor last year he didn't approve Carpenter Creek project. We got it approved this year, another $1 million, and that helped with the estuary and our efforts, and Chris Dawson. So we are making some headway. White Island is a huge water quality project as well that will help with Bio Grande and all that salt marsh grass and some of the stuff that we're going in there. But can we do more? Absolutely. Should we do more? Absolutely. Our water quality. We don't have a stormwater drainage assessment. We don't have one in the county. And people come and beat up on me. No one wants to pay more taxes. But stormwater drainage assessments help keeping contaminated water out of the bayous. But there's not an appetite for it. He's not going to vote for a stormwater drainage assessment, I doubt. And I doubt most people in this room would want one. Let's just be honest. I'm not saying that I'm serious. It's just a fact. Keith, you've been in my office talking about it. And the problem is, and I told Keith this, I said, you're absolutely right. Our water quality is vital. But I don't know if the people in District 2 want another assessment. And I've been talking about it, like I said I would to you guys and Mr. Odom. But yes, we need to do more.
The next person speaking is Shannon.
Hi, I'm Shannon Kohler. I don't normally get into this stuff, but because I'm Mike's wife, and but this is for you, Mr. Dorsey. I have your expenses, and back in February 26, you paid for a survey with Palafox Productions, and the survey went out, a phone survey, and I have it here if you want me to play it. I got this message when I was at work, and I work at Sherwood Elementary School. And the message was really appalling. We talked about character earlier. Mel talked about that. In this phone survey, I'll be more than happy to play it because it's just, are you proud of that? That you paid to sit there and tell my husband is related to, no, it's related to Jeffrey Epstein and that he sexually or physically assaulted a woman 26 years ago? I've been with my husband for 27 years. Yes, Scott Miller, your company, you paid for it. It came out. Most of these people in this room got this phone survey. I'll be more than happy to play it. But it talks about my husband and Jeffrey Epstein and that he sexually and physically assaulted a woman 26 years ago. I've been with this man for 27 years. 27 years. He would have lost his nursing license.
Never happened.
Well, then I guess Scott Miller's lying. You paid for it.
Scott Miller.
Scott Miller, Palafox Production, who you work with.
I work with Greg Fink.
No, you paid for it. I'll be more than happy. I'm his wife. Okay? You don't go after people, their family. I'm
Absolutely
sorry.
not.
I'll play it.
Please.
Okay.
I would like.
No, I'm sorry. I want to bring it up because it's just not right. I never talk about stuff. I sit in the back. This is my husband. He's not Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, it's sad. I got it. But I'll be more than happy to play it. Okay.
Shannon, look, I didn't know she was going to do it, but I will tell you this, it's disgusting. And
It's bothered me since I heard that at work.
I want to tell you the type of guy I am. I've never been convicted of any crime or accused any place in the world. No, it's not, sir. It's not. You got to read the police report. Charles, the guy that, hey, can you get this under control? I want to reclaim my time. Okay. So obviously this man can't read a police report, and I have a witness. Hey, sir, it's my time. I know you can't control your impulses and you don't read police reports, but it's my time, not yours. So here's the deal. I want to talk about this because that's nonsense. I'm like anyone else with a driver's license, and I have a witness. Can we please get him under control so I can make a comment? Yeah, point of order. This man can't take over the thing, but to Glenn's accusation, everyone knows Scott Miller that's been around politics anywhere in Escambia County is related to Greg Fink, and he knows that. He put out one of the grossest, slanderous things ever against a military officer. Many of you got it. It never happens, never happened. I would not be able to be a licensed nurse for 35 years. I was an ensign in the Navy. I had a whole lot of military power as the lowest ranking officer to make 13 pay grades. It's absolutely nonsense, hateful, and disgusting, Greg. And you know what? You did hurt my wife. Because I don't beat women, and I don't sexually abuse people, and I don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is, and for you to put that out, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Anybody that wants
I would be interested in hearing what it is,
because
because
850 in the comments and place it there. Can we now continue?
Oh, you scared, right?
Stop. Sir, we're all neighbors. Look, we're all neighbors. And also, Mr. Dorsey has a meeting. He has a hard stop at 7 o'clock. Yes, thank you. Mr. Dorsey has to be at another meeting. He's advised me, he has a hard stop at 7.
at 7 o'clock, 7:10 at the very latest, I need to be out that door, but I'm giving as much time as I can.
Hi. I just have a short question. We have this building, the building you were talking about at Brancas and Oakwood that they've been working on.
Are you talking about the Suburban Lounge?
Yes, and I've been studying with a group that does abused trafficked children and how many children there are right now. And that this area right now is one of the worst areas for trafficking children. I'm just asking you, do you think it's wise putting up these kind of buildings with all these problems of trafficking going on? And how can we find out what, if there is any problems in these two buildings they're creating?
Are we talking about just revitalizing and remodeling the suburban lounge up there?
Right.
They're putting a roof on it right now.
Right, and they've already got one just right next to it. I'm just saying, for trafficking, child trafficking, how do we know what is going on in those buildings?
As I understand it, it's just gonna be another extended stay hotel. I don't think they anticipate changing any of its use whatsoever. And then
So you aren't kind of questioning the things that are going on around our area?
well, I certainly highly oppose trafficking, whether it was a child or an adult or anybody else for that matter there. I'd like to think we're all well past that. So I denounce any of that, and if anybody's aware of child trafficking, I think it ought to be reported immediately.
I just don't believe that the sheriff.
Regina, I don't think there's any human trafficking going on in those buildings. If they were, we would definitely have the sheriff intervene. I'm not sure, do you think there's some human trafficking going on there?
At Walmart on Mobile Highway, I've seen some really absurd things in that Walmart.
Well, the thing is, if you see something like this, and the same thing I said last night about Import, we need to report it to the sheriff's department. County commissioners don't police. We fund the sheriff's budget. Obviously, we get calls all the time about all kinds of things, right? Abuse to animals. I get that pretty regularly, right? Or saving a goat in Navy Point. It's all over the place. But yeah, we're gonna save the goat. It's gonna.
I know that's an important, but child trafficking is really a big deal.
But I don't think Glenn or I would. We would want to.
How many phones went off yesterday or day before about another child abduction? How many people have seen it on television?
That's
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. I appreciate the debate. At this point,
Chris, did you have?
keep it short, Chris. We're running out of time.
Well, I got two things. First of all, one is a comment about the property tax reduction and reducing apartments. I worked for the county for 25 years. By the way, my name's Chris Kerr. I work for Flood Defenders Panhandle. And we went 8 years without a raise, a cost of living raise. That was about around 2008 time frame. And all we got told was you need to do more with less. And if you say something about, oh, you might get furloughed this year. So that's a big, tough issue. That really is. The local option sales tax, Flood Defenders supports that. I've seen a lot of good work done out of that. You can use that money to match grant funding. I would much rather have everybody pay a tax than just property owners pay a tax. So I'm voting yes for that. The big issue is something I've been singing about, I don't know, 5 years. We even went through the planning board, had an ordinance come to the county to adopt national rainfall data. NOAA Atlas 14. 2 to 2.5 inches more rainfall that we're getting from what they're using. Multiply 2 to 2.5 inches over 100 acres, 50 acres, whatever. It's overloading our floodplains. And you got subdivisions that have never flooded before that are now flooding. Why did the Board of County Commissioners kick the can down the road because of the Home Builders Association came up there and says, oh, that's going to cost us too much money. And you said you were going to pick it back up, I think it was last year, around after summer was over. Well, it hadn't been picked back up. Stop kicking the can, pick it up.
So I do appreciate what you just said, sir, because I have the opportunity to manage communities. I don't develop communities. I don't sell real estate. My business is in the management side. And I cannot tell you just how often we are having brand new homes flooded out entirely, where I've got knee-high depth of water above the storm drain on a mild average rain, much less during a heavy rain, and storm retention ponds filled up to the entire brim. and this may be good for, my opponent's campaign here. I support concurrency. It is important that we're building brand new subdivisions in this community to make sure that we've got adequate utilities, adequate roads, adequate schools, all of the resources necessary to support a brand new community. I am an advocate for small impact fees in how that relates. It is not fair for the developers to walk away with their pockets full of money and the taxpayers to have to pay the bill right behind them in order to contend with these issues. When we're turning over the roads, when the developers are turning over the roads to the county, they need to be in acceptable condition. The stormwater systems need to be in acceptable condition. So I'm a big proponent of that. I think it's healthy for everyone. And as we talk about, one of the levers that's available for a county commissioner, it's not only the budget, but it's the land use and zoning that we talked about briefly earlier. We've got a lot of areas where there's just vacant property right now. We've got the resources in terms of the roads, the utilities, to allow for additional infrastructure to be built on these vacant lands. If we want to create affordable housing, we have to take the land that can be used for what we would like it to be used for, to let it be used. Let's rezone it. If we want to allow multifamily on an area, let's go ahead and do that. Let's not wait for developers to have to petition and then go through the chain of command and spend campaign donations and so on. So.
Wake up, Mike.
Wake up.
Listen, yeah, so I agree with some of the stuff he said. And Chris, just so you know, I brought that up with engineering and the state requirements, and it's an issue. On concurrency, and I'm not bought by anyone, if you haven't figured that out yet. No one tells me what to do. I'll do my own thing. But I will tell you, they all say it'll be a transfer cost to the buyer. And maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know. It probably will have some sort of effect if you do concurrency and impact fees. Am I opposed to them in new developments? No. But what you're going to get is an HOA with someone like Glenn manage it, more likely. Because that's what happens. No, you know that, Glenn. That's probably a true statement. Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to be in an HOA, and let me tell you where this is, and a lot of times they work out great, but let me tell you where they don't work out so great for 20 years. Perdido Estates. They had a terrible developer. Everyone here knows it, but you know who fixed the problem? I did. So we've got them in MSBU. We met out there twice. They finally got a stormwater drainage program. They got all the road stuff. But they had a developer that didn't do what they were supposed to, was going to put an HOA in. They bailed out, and for 20 years, they flooded on the back part of that community. They finally got relief the second year I was as a county commissioner. But, to answer his question, we need more stormwater drainage. We need some concurrency. Santa Rosa has it next door. How much? Who knows? I don't know what the answer is. What's the right fit? And Chris, as far as stormwater drainage, we've done so much stormwater drainage in the last 4 years. It's been more than we've ever done, and you know that. And so it's just a fact. Yeah.
And I don't want you to.
Thank y'all. Thank you very much. So at this point, we'll go to closing statements for each candidate. And I believe our first candidate up, 2-minute closing statements, will be Commissioner Kohler.
Thank you, Keith. And I want to thank everyone for coming out. When you sign up for this, you don't know what you're getting into. Honestly, I didn't know 4 years ago what I was getting into. Being a retired nurse, having to learn stuff in healthcare. Politics is a whole different world. It's not winner takes all. It's a forward negotiation, losing sometimes, winning sometimes. But I think I've done my job for you. And I'll tell you why. Many of the things that I've done in the last 4 years will go past my legacy. You look at Navy Point Park alone. Navy Point Park is the only park in Escambia County that is protected by 5 votes. That's amazing. For those, there's only a couple black people in this. Well, there's a few. One of the things I did right away, Hope Cemetery. It was a blight, and it's over here in Warrington. I got it cleaned up, on nationally recognized, and it's cleaned up now, and people can be proud of that. We're taking care of people that were neglected for years. Myrtle Grove CRA. That was a big win south of 57th. The mean income over there is $44,000 per household, way lower.
they needed a CRA. Warrington CRA, 2 new fire stations. They were both volunteers. We have not had a new fire station in District 2 50 years. You're getting 2 new ones. Steve's getting one out on Bower Road because I went over to the Navy and CNIC. And yes, it takes a little bit of money, but we're protected for 8 years. Didn't want to vote for the turf over on for Steve Berry at Tate, but I did. You know why? We got the land at 57th and Lily. It would have been about $300,000 for $1. An agreement, so we can put a library in it. Sometimes you have to work and do things that will help out the district as a whole. And I've been able to prove that. South Navy Boulevard is going to change our community. I promise you it's going to be a great project. The people that have raised their hands to serve this country deserve the dignity and the beautification when they go to be buried at Brankus, and I'm going to fight like hell for that. And White Island is great. I appreciate you being here. I really am asking you, if you think I've done my job, vote for me again. God bless each and every one of you.
Mr. Dorsey?
Thank you. So I think we've got 2 different candidates up here. It'll be your choice to make. I ask that you just look at the positions, look at the voting record, look at the character of the person that's before you, and decide on who has the vision for this area. I am completely about reducing expenses, whether there's a possibility to do that. I want to be focused in on the roads and on the infrastructure and on the appearances of the community. I think that's important. I am for being conservative with your dollars and not giving them away to charitable organizations, even though they might be very worthy. But I want to make sure that, you know, as a commissioner, everything is being used towards the public use. You can count on transparency with me. Communication is important. I will commit myself to holding a town hall meeting every quarter so I can hear from the residents of this district, making myself available once a month at a venue so I can hear from those residents, and certainly answering phone calls and responding back to emails to make sure that you're heard and that your issues are resolved. So again, my name is Glenn Dorsey, and I'm running for County Commissioner District 2.
All right, I'd like to thank the candidates for tonight. And thank the audience for some vigorous participation, the Warrington Revitalization Committee, and particularly Will for the pizza. So, go forth, have a safe evening,